Hi, I'm Adrian and welcome to another video here at the Fellowship of Acoustics. Quite often, all kinds of instruments come through our repair shop for all manner of problems, which, to be honest, most of them could be avoided. And that's what this video is all about. It's about the care and maintenance of your instruments, whatever they are, so that they spend more time with you in your hands being played rather than with us being repaired. For many of us, our instruments are a major investment and we have to think of them as living things, so they need care and attention, and sometimes they'll need feeding. Many of the problems for the instruments that come through our repair shop are caused through humidity and temperature. So hopefully with this video you can take a few steps to prevent all kinds of problems from occurring. And with this, I'd like to show you exactly how you can keep your guitar or other instrument in perfect condition. If you look at the humidity in your room, that's what the major cause of problems are. If it's too dry or if it's too damp. How can we tell whether it's too dry or too damp? Well, let's take an acoustic guitar, but there's of course this you can adapt to any musical instrument. Acoustic guitar is one of the most sensitive instruments there is with humidity or temperature. Let's start then with if something is too dry. If it's too dry in your room. The first thing what I would suggest that you do is to buy yourself a good digital hygrometer. They're not expensive, but they can save you an awful lot of money in the long run. Hygrometer measures not only how much dampness or dryness there is in the air, but also the temperature. If you're keeping your guitar on the wall or in a stand, keep the hygrometer close to the guitar because that is going to give you the most accurate reading. And we like to see that anywhere between 45 and 55%. Anything lower than that, you know it's too dry. Anything above 55 to 60% is way too damp. So we have to take action, and you have to take action quickly. If, like me, you keep your guitar in the case has got its own little atmosphere inside. When you take your guitar out to play it, please remember to shut the case. If you leave it open, that case is also like a sponge and it will release any kind of moisture into the atmosphere, but will also dry out if your room is too dry. So when you put your guitar back in the case, that will be the new atmosphere. So your guitar will either become very, very damp again, or it will be dried out. How can we tell if our guitar is too dry? There are certain things that you can do and keep a check on at home. First thing is, you'll notice that as the wood shrinks, as it's drying out, all the fret ends will become sharp. So that's something which you can easily check daily if need be. Again, what can also happen is the frets can pop out. So when you actually start playing, you'll get fret buzz everywhere. On the guitar top, as you can see, it's mainly spruce or cedar, but you've got the growth rings from the tree. And what you've got to think about is the light and dark lines. Now the light lines are the summer growth from the tree, the dark lines are the winter growth. The summer growth, the lighter lines, they will either absorb moisture or they will dry out. So when your guitar is too dry, you will find that the wood will shrink and you'll end up with this. The summer growth shrinking, but not the winter growth. A result of that could be any number of things. Wood only shrinks in its width and not in its length. So the bridge is glued this way on, so the length of the grain is this way. This wants to shrink that way, this will not allow it. What will happen? Either the bridge will become loose or the top will crack. And certainly around the center seam, as the top is made up of two pieces of wood glued together. So that will crack, or you'll end up with cracks anywhere across the top. Another thing what can happen is the braces. They will also pop off, become loose. So when you're playing, you'll hear vibrations coming from inside the sound chamber. That is a good sign that the timber is all, or the guitar then, is all way too dry. So you have to take immediate action. If your guitar is too damp, what happens then? The wood will swell, which means that the top will come up which means it becomes more difficult to play. Again, if the top comes up, this wants to swell, the bridge won't allow it to swell, nor with the scratch plate. So you'll end up with cracks appearing. Also, the braces can come loose, and in the really worst case scenario, the top and the back will actually pop off the sides, and then we have major problems, and you'll be without your guitar for literally months while it's being repaired. But this all can be prevented with a hygrometer and some of the products which I've got here. We've got loads of products in the shop which humidify or dehumidify your guitar, but remember, when using these products, the guitar has to be inside the case. If you leave it on the wall, these products will not work. It has to be in a closed environment within the case. This is one that we thoroughly recommend. This one is in the case, but we also have them available for hanging inside the guitar, and basically it's got little crystals inside which you fill up with water, and then this will gradually release moisture into the guitar. So that's what you use if it's too dry. We have also other products available from, I think it's from D'Addario, which actually work both ways. So they'll actually suck up moisture when it's necessary and release moisture when it's necessary. So all these products I would thoroughly recommend, and they are much cheaper to buy than having your guitar repaired. Another thing that we see very often is guitars that are very dirty. When we're playing, the sweat, grease from our hands or our arms, like for instance in this area, and with the dried skin cells and everything else, they become absolutely stuck onto the guitar. And sometimes, to be honest, guitars come into us and the first thing we say is, what can I do with this? I dare not even touch it. And that's something which you don't really want. And you can't actually say that to the client either, because it's not very friendly, we'll say. So we have here all kinds of polishes. It's very easy to use. We have guitar polish, that's for high gloss finishes, and we have the detailer here for matte finishes. So everything here is available, so you can keep your guitar nice and clean. Also, it will protect your finish and keep it looking nicer for longer. All these things actually help to keep your guitar really healthy, we'll say. What you can also do, and I would thoroughly recommend it, especially if you've got an ebony fingerboard, ebony is very brittle when it dries out, is to oil the fingerboard. We have fingerboard oils from different makes here, but I would thoroughly recommend it. Twice a year is more than enough. So when you're changing your strings, twice a year, remove all the strings, clean the fingerboard thoroughly, and add the oil to it. All you need to do is to put that on a rag, put it over, wait 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. If it's soaked in, that means your fingerboard is too dry, just add a little bit more. And wait until it just sits on the surface, and then you wipe off any excess, clean your frets, and then you can restring and you're ready to go again for another 6 months. You don't have to do it too often, because what will happen, the oil, if you put too much oil, and this has happened to us recently with a repair that's come in, there's too much oil, and what happens is that goes right the way through the fingerboard, and then it affects the glue between the fingerboard and the top, and this whole area has become loose. So we've had to remove the neck to try and dry the fingerboard out so that we could re-glue it, because obviously if there's oil within the fingerboard, it won't glue. Those are some easy, simple tips that you can use to keep your guitar healthy, because to be honest, I love my job repairing guitars, but I'd rather see them in your hands being played than in my hands being repaired. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you found it informative. If you've got any questions about any of the products, please don't hesitate to contact any one of our sales teams. If you've got any problems with your guitars or whatever, think about what I've said. If you're really in doubt, bring the guitar to us and we can evaluate exactly what the problems are and how we can rectify them. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share this with all your friends and neighbours, and hope to see you again soon. Cheers for now then. Bye.